Alright, assalamu alaikum. Let's get started. Direct and indirect proportion. We'll only be doing direct proportion. I think indirect proportion is what you do in year 10. Anyway, let's just get started. Alright, so let's just start off just a basic introduction. What is direct proportion? Okay, I will just introduce it with an example. When Mo Farah, who is a runner, in case you're not aware, he's been to the Olympics, he's pretty famous. Anyway, Mo Farah runs at 8 meters per second for some fixed period of time. We're not going to worry about time, don't worry about it, okay? When he runs 8 meters per second, he covers 240 meters. So the question is, when he's running this much, how much distance does he cover? Well, we know 240, right? And why isn't it working? Of course it's not working. Alright, 240 meters. And so therefore, the question is, well, when he runs 16 meters per second, how much will he then cover? 16 meters per second. Well, he'll cover 480 meters, won't he? He'll just double. He's running twice as fast, so he's going to cover twice as much. What about if he runs 4 meters per second, half of the original speed? Well, he will cover half, won't he? And similarly, 8 meters per second is 240. If he runs at 24 meters per second, we can just multiply it by 3, right? 8 times 3, 240 times 3, 720 meters. Now the question is, what numerical relationship connected the speed and distance in each case? We're going about it a slightly different way. So 8 meters per second results in 240 meters per second. If you were to use the unitary method, you'd find that this is 30 times as much. 8 times 30 is 240. And similarly, 16 times 30, 4 times 30, 24 times 30, right? So there's a constant scale factor between them of times 30. You get the left hand side, you just multiply it by 30, and you get the right hand side, basically. And that's the idea of direct proportion. That the idea that two things are linked by one number. In this case, it's times 30. The relationship between them is times 30. And it happens quite a bit, I guess. Anyway, let's just move on and we'll see what I mean. So when one quantity directly scales with another, we say that they are directly proportional. And we write it like this in maths, but you don't really need to know that. You don't need to know the symbol. We don't really use it much in Australia. Based on our discussion that there's a constant scale factor between the two, we can also write, remember when we wrote times 30? Well, that's what we're saying. The left hand side is equal to some number multiplied by s. Or the right hand side over here, I guess it's written on the left, but this right hand side of the column, to get this right hand side, you do s times 30. So to get d, distance covered d is equal to some number times s. In this case it's 30. It's the constant of proportionality. So to solve any direct proportion question, we follow the steps below. Step 1, we write y is equal to ks. We always just write y is equal to kx. We just write this down. Step 2, substitute the information we've been given. This means we will usually have y and x given to us. For example, the question will be something like, when blah is x, blah is y. Okay, when speed is x, distance is y. If Manahil eats 1 pizza, Huda eats 2 pizzas. How many pizzas will Huda eat if Manahil eats 5 pizzas or whatever, right? So you'll have x and y. They'll give us x and y. We sub into the equation from step 1, and you will get the value of x. So in the example we just said, when Manahil eats 1, Huda will eat 5. You put that in. We know the x, we know the y. We just substitute it in, right? We write y is equal to x with our new value of k. Once you have y and you have x, right, only k is a variable. K is the only letter that will be left. So we can just divide both sides by x, and you'll know what k is equal to. So we know k. From step 2, we'll find out the value of k. We just rewrite in step 3, and step 4 we just substitute what we need. And this will become obvious when we do a few examples. So for example, y is equal to kx. There's the question. I'm not sure why I repeat afterwards. But y is directly proportional to x. When x is 3, y is 7.5. That's the question that's been given to us. Find the value of y when x is 4.4. And this is a typical question. You know x, you know y, you know one instance, you have to find another instance. Y is equal to k. Step 1, write down y is equal to kx. Step 2, we substitute what we know. We know when x is 3, y is 7.5. So y 7.5 is equal to k times x, which in this case is 3. And we're going to divide both sides by 3. Bring the 3 into the left-hand side, divide both sides by 3, and you'll find out k. K is 2.5. We're going to rewrite the equation y is equal to 2.5x. We found out what k was. We substitute in. Now it's y is equal to 2.5x. And now they want us to find the value of y when x is 4.4. We substitute this in. X is 4.4, so replace x with 4.4. Y is equal to 2.5 times 4.4, and you get your answer. It's important to keep this tip in mind. This is really going to help a lot. You can replace the words is directly proportional with is equal to k times. And honestly, this is going to be a lifesaver. This is so important. So just keep this in mind. Alright, so this is the example given in your textbook. They've made slight mistakes. We'll get to that in a second. Anyway, so the distance in meters traveled by car is directly proportional to the number of rotations of its tires. After 540 rotations, a distance of 950 meters is traveled. What distance to the nearest meter will be traveled after 800 rotations, and how many full rotations will be needed to cover 360? It's very similar. You've been given, after 540 rotations, a distance of 950. Okay, so, and the first line is key in setting up the equation. Step 1, we have to set up the equation. So finding the equation, d is directly proportional to r. They've said the distance is directly proportional to r, the rotations. D is equal to k times r. D is equal to k times r. Alright, let's use what we've been given to make an equation. They've said when 540 r, then d is 950. So make an equation, right? Divide both sides by 540 and you get k. Now we rewrite the equation. D is equal to 95 on 54 r, and now we're going to substitute the next bit in. We have to find d, what distance will be traveled. So we're going to find d, but we know the r value, don't we? Find d when r is 800. So let's sub it in, and as you can see, we're just going to put this in a calculator. Put it in a calculator, boom, you got your answer. 1407, easy. And second part, how many full rotations will be needed to cover 360 kilometers? How many rotations? How much r? We're going to find r here. And we've been given distance, 360, right? So find r when d is equal to 360,000 meters. It says 360 kilometers. Now your textbook has made a mistake. For some reason they've said 360 is d. D is not 360, d is 360,000 because it's just kilometers. And d is in meters. Okay, so sub it in. Now, this is basic algebra, but just in case you're not sure, we have 54 at the bottom here. We're dividing r with 54. It's dividing. So we're going to multiply both sides by 54. The 54 will come and multiply with the 360,000 on top. And the 95, you will divide both sides by 95. So you end up with that. Dividing on the left, and 54 is multiplying on the left. You get that, put on a calculator, you get that answer. Roughly, it'll be 204,631 point blah 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 blah, but we have to round up because we have to travel 360,000 kilometers exactly. So just round up, you get that. To travel 360 kilometers, your textbook is wrong in this. Okay, so just test your understanding. Try and do these questions. Pause the video, do these questions, and see how you go. So r is directly proportional to q. When q is 12, r is 9. Find a formula for r in terms of q. And I'm assuming you've already paused this. I'm just going to go ahead and set up the equation. Find k. Rewrite the equation. Find the value of r when q is 17. Well, I'm just going to put in q. We know q is 17. Sub it in, and you get r is 12.75. Similarly, b is directly proportional to the square root of a. B is equal to, is directly proportional to, replace it with is equal to k times, right? So b is equal to k times the square root of a, the square root of a, the square root of a. Okay, and they've given us a and b, sub it in, get the value of k. It's always going to be the same, right? It's just repeat. It's very repetitive. It's easy. And you just end up getting that. Alright, so this is some exercise for you to do. I'll put up the answers. Give it a go. If you don't understand something, ask me on Slack. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with your homework as well. And please do remember to remind me on Slack every time you're stuck on a chapter or you need help with something. It's only 1 week left. Next term I'll be teaching you guys, I guess. So I'll just reveal all the answers. Feel free to pause the video every time you finish your question. And that's it. Assalamu alaikum.